and I'll tell you the next step. It's it's a little difficult to hear, but the next step, because they need to keep building up the fear of these UAPs. Next step is really for the UAPs to start um, shooting down our commercial airliners and our military jets from the skies. And that, I believe, is going to be happening like very, very soon.
Welcome to Redacted Conversations. I'm Clayton Morris. On this show, we invite journalists and thought leaders and whistleblowers and interesting people who have interesting stories to tell. And our guest today is John D'Souza. John D'Souza is a retired FBI special agent who served 25 years on counterterrorism, paranormal cases. He had a top secret security clearance during his FBI career. In fact, D'Souza literally collected the real life X-Files that were used in the show, The X-Files. And I want to welcome John in. John, I became aware of you because I think about a year ago, you said publicly on an interview that I caught that, hey, the government is going to use some sort of a UFO invasion, a fake UFO invasion story. And you laid it out specifically. And then wouldn't you know, a few weeks ago, we have Chinese balloons and UFO invasion. And I remembered that interview. We featured it on the show, and my audience was like, holy smokes, he got it right. So, John, that's how I first learned about you. So I said, I want to have John on the show. I want to hear about his FBI career. I want to hear about these X-Files. I want to hear about your writing. I want to hear about how prescient you were with all of these, this awareness about what the deep state is doing, the cabal and all of that. So, John, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Clayton. It is great to be here with you on Redacted Conversations, Redacted News. You guys are fantastic, and I am so happy to be here. This is a great privilege for me. And yes, all that you were saying is correct. And I am John D'Souza. I was a special agent investigator in the FBI for 25 years. That was, well, over 25 years. And I was the agent that had several of their stories way back in 1993. There were several of my stories were taken by a show that was going on the air at that time for about a year. It was called The X-Files, and it was using several of my cases. And the FBI actually called the creator of that show while I was there, our bosses at the FBI, and told him, "Where did you get those stories from?" Because they were classified. They were not only classified; they were buttoned up, what we call buttoned up, having everybody sign additional non-disclosures and things like that. And so, the creator, Chris Carter, he tells this story today. He had to answer. He was told by the FBI that his show was going to be shut down, and he had to tell them where they got his show, because they were obviously accusing me at the time of giving this information to Chris Carter. That was not the case, and he expressed to them that that was not the case as well. And he actually got the stories from several retired FBI agents that actually were working with me and went to Hollywood to be consultants. And they got my, what we call the OTB book, the off the books notes that I have of cases that that were not really put into FBI files for various reasons. Many of us have those books, and they're very interesting, and they're very good. And other than that, though, I also worked all the big counterterrorism cases as well. That was kind of like my major, while paranormal was kind of my minor at that point. And so that's where I come from. That's what I have done, and I have a lot of a lot of things that I share with people these days in my books and in my presentations and everything else that I do around the world.
So I want to dive into a lot of these things. I want to talk about the cabal today. I want to talk about the deep state. I want to talk about why you left the FBI, like maybe the current state of the FBI. But first, before we get into some of that, maybe we can just talk about some of the news of the day, which how I came to learn about you, which is around this UFO flap, this Chinese balloon story. And you, over a year ago, were saying they are lying to us what they're going to do next. It's already prepared. They are going to tell us that a UFO invasion is coming. It will be used as a story. There won't be a UFO invasion. It'll be used as a story. And then I couldn't believe this all. I mean, it was all laid out there. It all was coming to be. Oh, it was Chinese balloons. Now maybe it was UFOs. Now it's UFOs. And now we're really ramping up the Pentagon awareness about it. And my side of it has been that they want to use this story to spend money, the military industrial complex, to continue to make billions of dollars and using Space Force as the next way to do that and all of this. So am I wrong about that, or could you elaborate on that? And how did you know that this was going to be the case, that they were going to use this story to scare people?
The way that I knew was through my investigations that have been painstaking over the years, and also my information that I get from the intelligence community. In the intelligence community, which is the people who have worked with and been around the FBI, the NSA, the CIA, the all this, and also the intelligence agencies of other nations, of the other English-speaking nations, which includes many countries, because we also count India, Israel in that as well, and many others. Um, uh, and so we have a way of sharing information to each other, which is through something called raw data and rumor, so that we are not violating any secrecy, we're not violating any top secret sort of prohibitions. So we're able to talk to each other about rumors, about things that may possibly be true. And the thing is, today, when you're in an atmosphere of complete and total deception, like we are today, then rumors become possibly life-saving, potentially life-saving at this point.
Right.
And that's where we are. That's where we are today again, so that we are actually able to latch on to important rumors, raw data that is running around, and we're able to share it. And that's a large part of how I get my information and how I get the things that I have. For instance, it was actually several years ago when I actually wrote my book, The Extra Dimensionals. My book, The Extra Dimensionals, which lays out everything that we've been talking about. It lays out the fake alien invasion. Anybody who follows me knows that I've been talking about this for several years now, and because it's all playing out exactly as I ascertained in my book, The Extra Dimensionals, which, by the way, has just gone back to number one bestseller on all the Amazon lists
Oh,
in
great.
this country because of that. Because, and I've had all kinds of mainstream media trying to contact me. It's blown up like crazily, trying to contact me because my predictions from the extra dimensionals is are coming true right now. And the main part of that prediction is that we would have this. You hear this buzzword, UAPs, UAPs,
Right.
rather than UFO. We had this elaborate operation. It's a psychological operation, the PSYOP, that has gone forward since I would say about 2012, but it actually goes back to 2004 because the New York Times, the great launch pad of all giant psyops. The New York Times actually in 2012, I believe, revealed, or maybe may have been later than that, revealed this UAP operation. where where the Navy has basically the U.S. Navy, sorry, United States Navy has actually taken over the UFO, the entire UFO genre from the Air Force, because all of these things, UFOs, UAPs, should belong to the United States Air Force, like they always have since Roswell in the 1950s, I believe. Um, and the U.S. Air Force has always belonged to this, has always taken over this area. Now it's been shifted because they decided to move into this UAP phenomena, where in 2004 we had a bunch of these sort of silver colored, um, and what they are is they're top secret drones. They're drones that possibly use anti-gravity technology from possibly Roswell. That was technology transferred from Roswell. And so we have all of these UAPs. And in 2004, we had a final giant experiment off the coast of California in the Pacific Ocean, where we had the no less a power military force than the U.S. Nimitz carrier group, battle carrier group, that was off the coast of California and created a safe space for this final experimentation that went on. That's my description of what happened. In the New York Times and other in all media around the world, it was described as, well, the Nimitz carrier group just suddenly happened upon these UFOs, and
Hmm.
they kind of use softer language to describe UFOs, but they said, oh, this group of UFOs were buzzing around and they were at incredible speeds, and here's the pilots' conversations that they had at the time to tell us about this. It's incredible, it's amazing, and then we had the launch. That was the launching of the UAP phenomena across this country.
Hmm.
Go
So
ahead.
it
Did you
starts
have
there, right? When the New York Times breaks that story, right? And everything, oh my God, now we can talk about this, right? In the
right?
mainstream, and the Pentagon can start
Exactly.
holding, we're going to have committees on this. Congress is looking into
Yes.
this. Senator Marco Rubio
Yes.
wants to make more money off of this. The whole thing starts and
Yes.
moves in that direction,
Exactly.
right? And it's a psychological
Exactly.
operation. So it was all
Yes.
controlled, was what you're saying. This idea that
Yes.
that we knew that USS Nimitz was going to be there, and this was all sort of planned for this to be launched and sort of disseminated to the public. So these drones,
Exactly.
these craft, are they U.S. made craft, reverse engineered from downed Roswell craft, or are these
Yeah.
otherworldly beings, otherworldly craft? What does your intelligence tell you about that? If you were involved in
Oh,
the X Files program and
yeah.
at the FBI,
Well,
what do you know about it?
you had about three questions there, and I would say yes, no, and yes. But
Okay, go for
the
them.
answers the answers are that no, they are man-made. They are man-made things. They are recognizable by the signature silverish sort of skin that they have. It's this, but the shapes tend to be different in every case. There are some that are cigar shaped. There are some that are larger. There are some that are much smaller. Some of them are those tic tac shapes, those kind of ovals. So they're all different shapes and sizes. However, they have the same signatures of the movement that they are capable of. However, the way that we know they are not true UFOs, true UFOs can be extraterrestrial and extra dimensional. In other words, they are usually they have capacity for shape shifting. They have a capacity for disappearing and reappearing. They have that is one of the ways that we know genuine UFOs are afoot. We're able to see those qualities in them. These tic tacs, these UAPs don't have those abilities. However, I do believe that they have the ability to destroy things, and that's why they're being built up. They are not, and this is the thing we're struggling with even now in our Congress, in our Senate. and in other places. They are not